Imagine standing at Terminal 4. You're holding a $6 coffee, just watching the baggage carousel spin completely empty.
Oh man, that is a bleak image.
Right. I mean, you have been talking to her every single day for like 8 months. You have literally met her parents on a Zoom call.
Or so you thought, anyway.
Exactly. Just yesterday, you paid a $2,000 emergency customs fee just to make sure she could get on her flight. And now, as the absolute last passenger trickles out of the terminal, her profile deletes. Your messages bounce back. She is just gone.
It is the ultimate vanishing act. And it happens, honestly, every single day.
Usually, when we talk about looking for love overseas, the digital dating world paints this picture of the absolute dream. Instant connection, thrilling adventure, your literal soulmate waiting across the globe.
Right, the fairy tale.
But today, we are shattering that illusion. Based on source material from The Turning Point, we are digging into raw, unfiltered accounts from men who have walked this path and paid a very heavy price.
A massively heavy price.
Yeah. Because the reality, if you are not prepared, is that this is a dangerous digital minefield.
The stakes here could not be higher. Our mission today for this deep dive is to arm you with the psychological profiles you will encounter in the digital ether.
We need to separate the genuine foundations for romance from what are, fundamentally, emergency fundraising schemes.
Exactly. Because failing to tell the difference means risking your heart, or far worse, your absolute life savings.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with what the source material identifies as the shallow end of the danger pool. These are the high-frequency operators.
Right, the low-effort hustlers.
Yeah, they aren't running sophisticated multi-month cons yet. They're playing a massive volume game, casting a huge net and just hoping someone bites.
The mechanism here relies entirely on scale. I mean, they operate on the assumption that if they message 10,000 people, at least a tiny fraction of percent will be vulnerable enough to engage.
And the most basic version of this is what the source calls the blueprint profile. This is the flawless runway model whose camera conveniently breaks every single time you ask for a quick video chat.
It's almost comical how predictably the camera breaks.
Right. Now, I know you listening to this are already internet savvy. You know about catfishing. We know this isn't a supermodel having tech issues.
No, it's a guy in a crowded internet cafe managing 20 chats at once using stolen photos.
Exactly. But the stolen photo routine is basic. What's fascinating here is how these volume operators escalate to the emergency standard.
Yeah, they don't just ask for money casually. They manufacture a highly specific, totally time-sensitive crisis.
Wait, how does that actually work in practice? Because honestly, if someone I just matched with asked me to pay their hospital bill on day 2, I'm unmatching immediately.
Well, you say that from a place of calm logic, but these operators are highly skilled at bypassing your brain's logic center, your prefrontal cortex.
So they hack your emotions.
Precisely. They employ the 48-hour rule. You match, the conversation is intensely flattering, they mirror your interests, and then, right when the dopamine of a new connection is peaking, an unbelievable tragedy strikes.
Like what?
A mother rushed to the hospital, a collapsed roof from a sudden storm, or even just a looming internet shutoff that means you'll lose contact.
Oh, wow. So they are actively preying on listeners' sense of chivalry. They are hacking that deeply ingrained human instinct to protect and provide.
Yes, they introduce artificial urgency. When humans are faced with a sudden crisis involving someone they feel a budding connection with, the amygdala takes over.
You just feel that sudden rush of adrenaline.
Exactly, and an intense desire to fix the problem. They also rely heavily on the sunk cost fallacy. I mean, even if you've only invested 48 hours, you've invested emotional energy.
Right. The scammer makes you feel like if you don't send $50 right now, this incredible potential future vanishes forever.
Which is terrifyingly effective for a low-effort scam.
But real connection doesn't start with day one begging. That's the hard truth. And then, you also have the operators who don't even bother with a fake crisis. The digital vendors.
Oh, the vendors. Strictly on these dating apps to sell adult content or private shows.
Yeah, strictly business disguised as dating. What's fascinating here is how these vendors dangerously clutter the app space.
It's not just a minor annoyance either. It fundamentally alters the psychology of the user.
Because there's just so much spam.
Right. When the ecosystem is flooded with vendors treating a dating app like a storefront, the signal-to-noise ratio is completely destroyed. Finding genuine authenticity begins to feel totally impossible.
Which actually leaves you more vulnerable to the scammers who do pretend to want a real relationship.
Absolutely. It creates this intense dating fatigue. You are so exhausted by the shallow cash grabs that when someone seemingly real comes along, your guard completely drops.
Which is the perfect segue, actually, because here's where it gets really interesting. We are moving out of the shallow end.
Into the deep end.
Yeah, if the volume game is a low-effort hustle, the next phase is a devastating, sophisticated long con run by psychological masterminds.
This requires a completely different defensive mindset. We are no longer dealing with artificial 48-hour urgency.
What are we dealing with then?
We are dealing with incredible weaponized patience.
Wait, hold on. If these scammers are running a volume game for quick cash, how does it actually make financial sense for them to spend months talking to just one guy? Why invest all that time?
Well, because the return on investment is astronomical. A guy in an internet cafe might extract $50 from a fake hospital bill.
Right.
But a psychological mastermind running a long con, they can extract $50,000 or more. They are playing for your entire net worth.
Man, that brings us right back to the scenario at the beginning of our deep dive. The ghost of the airport, operated by what the source calls the ultra-marathon scammer.
The mechanics of this con are heartbreaking. I mean, they build rock-solid trust over months. They introduce you to fake family members on video calls.
Which provides massive social proof. Your brain tells you, well, I've met her mother, this must be real.
Exactly. And then the trap snaps shut right before the physical meetup.
A sudden, massive legal emergency, or a fabricated exit tax they need covered to board the plane.
You send the money, you drive to the terminal, and they completely vanish.
It's devastating. But while that emotional devastation is profound, the financial mechanics of this next long con are even darker.
You're talking about the pig butchering crypto offer.
Yes. And I know you're thinking, listening to this, you're thinking, I'm way too smart to fall for a fake crypto app. You think this only happens to gullible people.
But the source material shows that doctors, lawyers, and engineers are prime targets.
So how does love actually turn into a financial ledger? How do they make that pivot without setting off massive alarm bells?
It is a masterful, slow-burn pivot. It always starts as pure romance. They discover your hopes, your dreams, your insecurities.
And then what?
Then, very casually, they mention they are an investor. They don't ask you for money. They just talk about a trade they made that did really well.
They just plant the seed.
Exactly. And the psychological hook isn't greed, it's the shared future. They pivot the romance from let's go on a date to let's build an empire together so we can buy a house on the beach.
So they link your love for them to financial success.
Right. And then they meticulously guide you to a bogus trading platform.
But these platforms look real, right?
Yeah.
We aren't talking about a poorly coded website from the 1990s.
Far from it. These scams are run by massive, sophisticated syndicates. They employ actual UX designers to build fake apps that mimic real financial institutions.
Oh, wow.
You see livestock tickers, beautiful charts. They have you put in a small amount, maybe a few $100s, and the dashboard shows your investment double.
Which triggers an immediate dopamine loop in the brain.
Yes. You see those numbers go up, and your brain's reward center just lights up. You even withdraw a little bit of the profit early on, which completely solidifies the illusion of legitimacy.
That is so manipulative.
It is. Once that dopamine hook is set and the vision of your shared wealthy future is blinding you, she convinces you to deposit your life savings.
And the reality of that deposit is grim.
I must emphasize this with grave seriousness. Once the money goes into that fake platform, it is not sitting in a market. It goes directly into the syndicate's wallet. It literally never comes back out.
The dashboard is just a video game. It's completely fake. You really have to keep your emotions entirely out of the driver's seat when money enters the chat.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, losing your life savings is a terrible blow. But you can eventually earn money back. You can recover financially.
Right, but the source material outlines a third level of danger where the stakes escalate beyond cash.
Yes, level 3.
We are driving the narrative into incredibly dark territory now. Level 3 isn't just about money. It is about the absolute destruction of your identity, your reputation, and your freedom.
These are the life-ruining landmines.
This raises an important question regarding what people claim online versus the hidden reality.
And the highest stakes danger on the entire internet is what the source identifies as the legal landmine.
We need to speak about this clearly because the technology is making this terrifyingly easy. We are talking about minors who are actively using mature makeup and highly sophisticated digital AI filters.
Specifically to fake their ages and seek out older men for financial support.
The legal implications here are absolute, irreversible ruin.
If you engage with these profiles, even accidentally, even if you were entirely deceived by the filters and the lies they told you, the law often does not care about your intent.
Engaging can completely destroy your life.
Legally, socially, professionally, you are looking at catastrophic consequences. There is zero room for error.
You cannot trust your eyes alone anymore. The tech is just too good. A filter can age someone up a decade in real-time video.
It's a terrifying reality.
And speaking of hidden realities, that leads us directly into the secret family prototype.
This one is a masterclass in isolation and control. She claims she is single and deeply invested in your relationship.
But what's the actual reality?
The reality is she is fully married, living with her husband, and she is using you to generate a secondary income stream for their household.
When I was reading the source, the scheduling aspect is what really gave me chills. It is like timeshare romance.
Timeshare romance, I like that.
Yeah, you think you own the property, but you only actually have access to it on alternate Tuesdays between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. when the primary owner is out of town.
Exactly.
If she is a complete ghost on weekends or evenings, someone else is in that house.
That timeshare analogy is perfect because it highlights the fundamental shift in power dynamics. You are isolated. You are kept in a very specific, controllable box.
And it gets worse once you find out. Right?
Oh, definitely. Once you are emotionally invested and you finally discover the husband exists, the scammer will often flip the script. They will claim they are trapped and need your financial help to escape the marriage.
Wow, so you are leveraged against your own empathy.
You aren't the main character. You are the side project funding their life.
And that theme of hidden reality brings us to the identity twist. Now, relying strictly on the source material here, we need to discuss dating transparency impartially.
Right. The source is very clear on this principle. Everyone has the absolute right to live authentically. However, the dating space requires a foundation of honesty.
So what does the identity twist involve?
It involves the deliberate withholding of key baseline facts, such as being transgender while actively posing as a cisgender woman.
Right, and it's not about the identity itself, it's about the mechanism of deception.
Analytically speaking, it is entirely about the timing of the revelation. Discovering a withheld baseline fact incredibly late in the game, well after a deep emotional bond has formed or expensive international travel has occurred, creates a massive crisis of consent.
The victim feels emotionally hijacked.
The entire premise of the relationship was built on a deliberate omission, which generates deep feelings of betrayal and massive conflict.
If you are starting a relationship by hiding a core component of reality, the foundation is already cracked.
It really is.
And that actually brings us to our final prototype, which is an entirely different kind of cracked foundation. The source calls it the Village ATM.
Yes, the Village ATM.
Now, at first glance, Village ATM sounds almost comical, but this isn't just about sending $20 to a neighbor, is it?
Not at all. With this prototype, she isn't looking for a partner in any traditional sense. She is looking for an economic rescue package.
It is a slow boil of transactional dependency.
Yes. You aren't marrying a person, you are marrying an entire zip code.
It starts small, right? A minor bill here, a grocery run there.
But before you know it, you are funding the neighbors, supporting local infrastructure, paying for a cousin's tuition, fixing a roof for someone you've literally never met.
Because the dynamic fundamentally shifts from a partnership of equals to a patronage system.
Every single conversation, no matter how romantic it attempts to be, will inevitably pivot to what you can buy, solve, or send next.
It sounds exhausting.
It is. The financial burden exponentially grows until the relationship eventually collapses under its own weight, leaving you totally drained.
Okay, let's take a breath. We have walked through some serious darkness here. From the dopamine hacks of the fake crypto apps, to the timeshare romance of secret families, and the terrifying reality of legal landmines.
It's a lot to process.
Listening to all this, it is so easy to feel like it's all doom and gloom. So what does this all mean? Should you just delete every app, throw your phone in the ocean, and become completely cynical about human connection?
Absolutely not. The source is very clear that international dating can, and frequently does, lead to beautiful, life-changing marriages.
But it only works if you walk through that door with your eyes wide open.
Right. You cannot rely on hope. You need actual defenses.
It's time to arm you with those defenses. The source provides 3 golden rules. Think of these as a heavy-duty suit of armor. The mechanisms are simple, but they are absolutely impenetrable if you strictly enforce them.
And strictly enforce is the only way this works. Rule number 1, video verify immediately.
If they will not hop on a live video call within the very first week, you delete the match. Period. No excuses about broken cameras, no routines about being too shy.
The psychology behind this rule is crucial. Volume scammers are playing a numbers game. They do not have the time or the resources to fake live video for every single mark.
So it's an instant filter.
Exactly. By demanding immediate video verification, you create a massive psychological and logistical barrier. You instantly filter out 90% of the low-effort hustlers.
Rule number 2, and this is the hill to die on. You must implement a strictly enforced $0 policy.
Do not ever, under any circumstances, send money to someone you have not met in person.
No matter how manufactured the emergency feels, no matter the tears, no matter the supposed incredible investment opportunity for your shared future, $0.
This entirely neutralizes the sunk cost fallacy and the artificial urgency we discussed earlier.
If her mother is in the hospital, that is a genuine tragedy, but you are not an international insurance agency. $0.
It's harsh, but necessary.
And finally, rule number 3, reverse image search.
This is a highly effective, proactive technical defense. You take the photos she provided and run them through tools like Google Images or Tiny.
And what does that do?
You will instantly see if those images have been scraped from an influencer's public page or a stock photo site.
It literally takes 30 seconds, and it can save you months of emotional heartbreak and financial ruin.
To briefly recap the escalation we've explored today, we started by looking at how high-frequency operators hack your brain's logic center with artificial emergencies,
Then we moved into the terrifyingly sophisticated long cons.
where syndicates use dopamine loops and weaponized patients to drain your life savings. And finally, we face the absolute life-ruining realities of legal landmines and hidden identities.
It is a wild, unpredictable landscape out there, but you are equipped now. The defenses are in place. And that brings me to a final thought I want to leave directly with you, the listener.
Something to mull over.
Think back on your own experiences, swiping and chatting. What is the absolute strangest red flag you have personally encountered but chose to ignore?
That's a great question.
And building on the psychology we've explored today, how often do we let our own deep human desire for a shared future blind us to the glaring warning signs flashing right in front of our eyes?
The desire for connection is incredibly powerful, but we can never let the fantasy override the reality of the minefield.
Exactly. So the very next time you log on, keep these psychological profiles firmly in mind. Remember that real romance requires a real, honest foundation. Stay vigilant out there, and as always, keep learning.